just want to go ahead and recap what we did last class. I know it's going really slow through. I just want to make sure we didn't lose anybody along the way. But I want to talk about ways that we can go a little bit faster with these problems. Okay. So let's take a look, for example, at, I think it's number 4 that I want to look at. So number 4, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a new spot to do our... So we learned order of operations. That is our GEMDOS or ChemDOS, if you would. And you do want to make sure you follow that. They're over here on the side. You do want to make sure you follow that when you're simplifying expressions. But now that we've done a few of these simplifying expressions, we can work a little bit faster, and that you can kind of break up your problem into a few different chunks. So we look here and it says evaluate negative 3x plus y minus 2 quantity squared divided by negative 2z. All right, and they give us the values for x, y, and z. All right, so when I go ahead and substitute that in, I'm going to get that it equals negative 3, x is 4, plus my y value is negative 2, minus 2 quantity squared, over, and then negative 2.
Wait, this is all that
This is just from our notes before. We've already done this, so you don't have to write this down. It's just me showing you a kind of faster way to go about it. So you can see when we went through, we followed our order of operations. We simplified inside the parentheses first, and then we did our exponents, and then we did our multiplication, and then our addition, and then finally our division. Now, when we have these types of problems where there's a lot going on, yes, we want to simplify our parentheses first, but we can go ahead and simplify some of our other chunks as well. So we can kind of think of this as like 3 different problems. We've got the bottom. We can simplify that separately. We've got up here negative 3 times 4, and then we have over here the parentheses chunk. So we can go ahead and simplify those pieces at the same time. Pretty much anytime there's something where there's an adding or subtracting, we can kind of individually simplify the chunks. So you can think of it as 3 different pieces. So I can go ahead and simplify negative 3 times 4, which gives me negative 12. I can go ahead and simplify the bottom here, negative 2 times 6, which gives me negative 12. And then let's again work on our parentheses here. So we have negative 4 quantity squared. But again, before you add these together, we want to follow our order of operations and square that first. So we have negative 12 plus 16 divided by negative 12. And we get positive 4 over negative 12. And that gave us our final answer of negative 1/3. Okay, so we are following order of operations, but we're kind of doing multiple pieces at the same time. I know that I cannot add these together until I've dealt with the multiplication here and dealt with the parentheses. So we can essentially do that at the same time, and it saves you a few steps. So I believe we should have all done this before last year in our pre-algebra or whatever math class you're taking. I can't remember if there's math 8 or math 8, pre-algebra, algebra 1. Any of those would have covered the same material. So hopefully after this day of doing it very detailed, we are reminded of our order of operations, but now we can move a little bit faster and simplify these different pieces at the same time. Okay. Any questions with that? All right, I'm going to go ahead and come around to check your homework. Let me pull up the key for you so you can check your answers. So I just want to, again, when we teach you some things in math, we teach you like the very basic, and then once we get the hang of it, then we can go a little bit faster with it. So I just want to show you that. All right, so go ahead and check your homework. I'm coming around to check your answers. So yeah, go ahead and check your answers so you know what you did with it.
Yeah, it's harder. Oh shit, these are facts. No, see, that's the thing. It's bullshit. You have to calculate. It's way harder to do it on the Apple calculator on these questions.
You do have to make sure you do your order of operations correctly, that's for sure. Like, you can't just type in this whole thing on your calculator.
Oh yeah, I know that, but like when it comes to doing fractions and stuff, it makes it into decimals. That's when you like get confused and you gotta
You don't go online.
find.
I just put license calculator. That's why.
You just put what?
License calculator.
Oh, there you go, fraction calculator. That's smart thinking right there.
And then it tells you to put the decimal one, and then you press enter and it changes.
Oh, yeah, he's good. He's good. I didn't know that existed. I'm going to go ahead and have you guys grab calculators when I'm checking homework, just so that way, if you got something wrong, you can go back and use the calculator to see if you can figure out what you messed up. So you've got two different boxes. So this is going to be kind of confusing how we pass it out. So I'll set this forward. Ooh, pretend you didn't hear that. That's like one of the worst things for a math teacher to hear is the calculator pulling into your own. Okay. So again, like always, just gonna put your name on the board and the number. We'll just have this half the classroom go get it from there, and we'll have this half the classroom get it from over here. That'll hopefully make it a little bit easier. And put your names on either side of the board, but easier for us at the edge to put it back. We don't have to wait for everyone. So go ahead and do that. You can also just look up online and just look up the online where you have to yeah, then I better make
I messed up on some. It's kind of confused.
Well, we'll go over it just for you.
Big, oh my god.
Did everyone
We had I'd stay after this.
Yes.
See? No, I wasn't. I just saying. Yeah, it was complicated.
I think so, so I just,
I wasn't able to get it back.
I think so I just.
Alright, is there any homework I did not say?
I really got you.
I ain't got two good things on my, I don't even eat.
I'm gonna go ahead and scroll down.
Oh, I'm just gonna get you some left. Okay, come back. Please.
Is anyone else who can mark any check? Check your answers there. Take attendance. And just a reminder, guys, that you do need to make sure you're here by the time the bell rings. The tardy table will be starting next week. The tardy table, yes. So, for those that have not heard about the tardy table yet, I think I have an example here in my pocket. Yes. Okay. So here at Herndon High School, you need, well, I mean, at every high school, at every school, you should be in class by the time the bell rings. But at Herndon High School, you need to make sure you are in the classroom by the time the bell is finished ringing. If not, then we send you to the tardy table. And so there'll be one at the big set of doors. I think it's called door 8 now, the one by the gym. And when you'll go there, they'll give you a green slip of paper and they'll write your name and mark whether it's excused or unexcused. Then you bring that back to me and I put that in SIS. After so many times of being tardy, then you have a lunch detention. Then if you continue, then I think it's an after school detention. And if it continues, then I don't remember, an in-school suspension, something like that. So don't be late. Come to class on time. And so again, you need to make sure you are in the classroom by the time the bell is finished ringing. I love collecting these things, so don't give me a whole lot of them to collect. I had a lot last year. My seniors struggled with getting to class on time. Okay, so that's only in the morning where you get the green tardy pass. So first period, second period. If you're tardy throughout the day, we just put that on SIS. So it's still recorded, but you don't have to go get a green pass for it. Now, if you...
So there's only tardy table in the morning.
Yes, correct. Now, let's say you have like a doctor's appointment in the morning, you come in at like 10 or 10:30, something like that. You just go to the attendance office and get the normal blue slip type thing, okay? But, so that's if you have like, there's a reason why you're coming in that late. So I think the tardy table goes until like 9 o'clock or something like that. So up until 9 o'clock you'll go to the tardy table, get the green pass, and then bring it back to your teacher. Okay. So let me take attendance real quick. Let me go ahead and go to the back side of our homework. So you can check that while I take attendance.
I have a question.
Yes.
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 So so on Monday, is it gonna be Black Day or just
Red day. So it just continues in the rotation. Today's a black day, so the next time we have school will be a red day.
No, it was Red Day last time on Monday.
It's because it was only a 4-day week. You see.
So if we finish on this, you put it in this.
So once we're on the day of the test, that's when I collect those and total up your homework grades, and then that's what will go on SIS. So I don't collect it till the day of the test because that's like when you're done with your homework.
After the test, you can give us another feedback.
Yeah.
But it's gonna go on the little fire on top of it.
It'll keep building upon, math will keep building upon itself. So we'll use what we just did in this unit for the next unit.
It counts for the test, your homework.
No, homework is a homework grade. Yeah.
Thank goodness I can.
Bless you. Um, 9:37. All right, just to double check that I'm not accidentally marking someone absent that is here. Kimberly Mendoza is not here and Michael Ramirez is not here, correct? Awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and go back to the front side. I'm going to bring up my calculator here, so we can use that as well. Okay, so it looked like some of us were having struggles with this middle part here. Kind of the 4 through 7 where the problems got a little bit larger. So I want to go over at least one of them, then we'll see what questions you guys have. Let's do number 7, because it looks like a lot is happening. Alright, so number 7, again, when we're evaluating expressions, we want to rewrite the expression instead of the variables, we're going to put in the numbers, okay? So I just put it away, back in front, please. And we shouldn't need to be in our calculators right now. Thank you. And thank you for putting phones away and earbuds away, you guys are awesome. But I do see a set of earbuds that need to come out. Okay. So number 7 here, I'm going to rewrite this instead of x, I have 2. So instead of, I just reorient this. Let me try again. I tell you, the smartboard always struggles with your guys' class the most. It just doesn't want to do algebra, I guess. Maybe some of you agree. Okay, so instead of x, we're going to write 2. And then I have parentheses, 2 minus 5, quantity squared, plus 4. All over, in our denominator we have 2 minus absolute value of 16 minus, and my y is 3. Okay, so again, we can kind of tackle this in multiple chunks. So let's go ahead. We know we have to simplify inside our parentheses, so let's go ahead and do that. 2 minus 5 gives me negative 3. And we know we have to simplify the absolute value down here, so let's go ahead and do that. 16 minus 3 is 13. Oh, I forgot my subtraction sign. And then again, we can take care of multiple chunks here. So I can take care of my exponents and evaluate my absolute value at the same time. Negative 3 squared. What is negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. Good. Remember, guys, negative 3 inside my parentheses, that becomes a positive. And then my denominator, what's the absolute value 13. 13. Okay, so again, we can go ahead and simplify the top and the bottom at the same time. Now on top, what do we do first? Multiplication or addition? Multiplication. So I'm going to do that first.
That's
But in the
22.
bottom, I can go ahead and subtract this, and I get negative 11. Top is 22, good.
And then you get negative 2.
And we get negative 2. Okay, so again, we can kind of tackle different pieces at the same time. All right. What questions do we have on our top column? 1 through 6. What questions do we have? Number 5? So let's take a look at number 5. So again, I want to rewrite this where instead of x I have 1, instead of y I have 7. Negative 2. X is 1 minus 3 quantity squared over y 7 minus 8. All right. So I have negative 2 on top still, but I have to simplify inside my parentheses. What does 1 minus 3 do? Negative 2. And then we can go ahead and simplify the bottom, so that would be a negative 2 there as well. Lots of 2's in this problem. All right, again, we have to take care of my inside of my parentheses or absolute value first. So negative 2 quantity squared is 4. Again, anytime a negative is inside my parentheses, it becomes positive. What is the absolute value of 4? 4. So then what would be negative 2 times 4? Negative, good. Okay. And then we just go and divide that, we get a positive. Okay, so as you get more comfortable with these set problems, you'll probably combine more steps together to show whatever we're
What do
going to
you
do.
do with the absolute values? Is that the absolute values?
Absolute value, yeah. So what we did, we kind of did 2 steps in one, but let me go and write out what we did
You're
instead.
supposed to multiply?
Yeah, so it's negative 2 times, and the absolute value of 4 is 4. And negative 2 times 4 is the negative 8 there. So this is multiplying. We could just, after you evaluate it, put the fixes in. All right, what other questions do we have on 1 through 6? Other 7 points. Number 4? Perfect. All right, so number 4. Ooh, we've got a square here. So I have parentheses 3 times x. Ooh, oh my. We have a 5/3 there. 3 times 5/3 minus 4. I'm going to draw these parentheses a little bigger. So I have 3 times x, which is 5/3, minus 4. And then minus 2y. Oh, we know our y. So instead of a y, let's put parentheses, negative 2 squared. Okay, so again, we have minus 2y squared. Okay. So let's work inside our parentheses first. 3 times 5/3, when you do that in your calculator, you get 5. And then over here, again, I have to do my exponent first. So I still have my negative 2 sitting in front. That negative 2 quantity squared, the negative is inside, so it becomes a positive. Again, I have to simplify inside my parentheses, so I have 1 and minus 2 times 4. Now, I know that I have to multiply before I do my addition subtraction, so I could have gone ahead and just multiplied that together. That would have been fine. 1 minus 8, and that gives me negative 7. Other questions here? So just some reminders on your calculator is that when you have fractions, make sure you use parentheses like here. I would have had 3 times parentheses 5 divided by 3. Use your calculator to help you out. You know, do different chunks at a time, and you could even go ahead and do the minus 4 if you want. Oops. I didn't hit 4 apparently. My calculator is a little delayed. Alright, and that's the one that we got here. So use your calculator to help you out, but when you do fractions, make sure you put parentheses around it. Or, does anyone remember how we get the fancy fraction that's upright?
That's funny.
Alpha y equals, who said this? You? Ben, right? Very good. Alpha y equals, that gives you the nice vertical fraction. So you can type in the 5/3 there. Okay.
What grade do you make these
What's that?
calculators like? Type it on?
So in geometry and algebra 2, you'll use these calculators as well. So you'll use them at really all of your math classes in high school. So algebra and geometry, if you choose to do algebra 2, you'll do it in algebra 2. If you choose to do AFBA, you'll do it in there as well. All right, other questions on this first piece? Number 6. Okay, let's look at 6. I'm going to go ahead and clean this up a little bit so we have some room. So I have 3 plus x, which is 1/2, minus, got a lot happening here, right? So this is a bracket, it's just what you use instead of parentheses when you already have parentheses. -2 plus parentheses, -7 minus my y. So my y is -6. Good, that'll become a +6. Close my bracket, squared. Okay, so again, just double check. We've got 3 plus x, which is 1/2, minus bracket, -2 plus parentheses, -7 minus y, which is -6. Parentheses, bracket, squared. Okay, lots happening here. Again, PEMDAS, GEMDAS, we want to start inside my parentheses. -7 plus 6. So I have 3 plus 1/2 minus -2 plus, what is -7 plus 6? -1. Good. That's going to be squared. So we start to simplify inside.
Why did you change this -6 to the process?
So it was, first one over there. Okay. It was minus -6. It was minus y and minus -6. Minus a negative becomes plus a positive.
Can you type it in the calculator how it is though?
Do minus -6, yeah, and it'll give you the correct answer. Yeah. Right, so notice I was still in my parentheses, so I got rid of those, but I still have the -2 plus -1. I have 3 plus 1/2 minus -2 plus -1. It's going to be -3 squared. We can go ahead and add these together, but it's going to be a fraction, so I'm not going to just yet. So I said 3 plus 1/2 minus a -3 quantity squared is +9. So we still have to keep our minus, but then this whole chunk becomes 9. And then you could just put in your calculator at this point. 3 plus 9 is 12.5. So you, oh, no, that's 3 minus 9. Woo! Look at me messing up. All right, so you can put it in your calculator at this point. That would be -6 plus 1/2, which would be -5.5. Or -5.5. Did you guys get that?
Yes.
Oh wait, that's what it is. In fraction forms. So any of these answers would have been acceptable. These are all the same thing. All right, so let's go and take a look down here.
Wait, how did you put the fraction thing on the calculator?
The nice vertical one there. It's alpha y equals, and then just hit enter. It's a really nice feature that they have. I wish they would have done that. Key thing to remember with number 8 is make sure you stop your square root, or sorry, this is a cube root. Make sure you stop your cube root after your a value, -125. And then we have plus my b squared. Notice this ends right here. So on your calculator, who remembers where on the calculator is this cube root button? Math. Option 4, good. So just make sure that when you type, obviously this is not the correct thing to type it in here, but you push to the right and that gets you outside it. So just make sure for your problem you go outside of it before you do plus. So if you got a decimal here, it's probably because you left that inside your bracket. And then I saw quite a few of us left the backside blank, so I just want to go ahead and do one of these to make sure we're okay with it. Let's take a look at number 11. So these numbers are my x's. That's what goes right here. Okay. Now, my numbers that I'm finding here, I have to actually put this into my y equation and for x to find out what it is. I'm going to go do my first one. Y equals negative 2 quantity squared plus negative 2 minus 3, right? So I just took this and put it in for x. Now again, once you do this on your calculator, you honestly can type it like that in your calculator. So I have parentheses, negative 2 parentheses squared plus negative 2 minus 3. Notice there's a difference between negative and minus. Once you do that, you get your answer. Then we have our answer for our y, which was indeed negative 1. But then when we go to do our next problem, we're putting negative 1 in for x. Remember, you can just arrow up, hit enter, and it pastes. It's like copy and pasting. So then we can go ahead. I would first rewrite it over here, so that you know what you're looking for. Negative 1 squared plus negative 1 minus 3. So again, I'm just taking this, putting it in for x. Put it in for x.
Oh, I forgot to do that. Just take one thing.
So you can either just retype it out, or if you want, you can go back and change the numbers here. Either way, it's probably for this type of problem about the same amount of time. So you just do it, again, it's like 4 problems in one. You do it with x as negative 2, do it with x as negative 1, then 0. Okay, so you have to take these x values and you do each one. Solve, get your y. Each one, solve, get your y. Okay. Any last questions on our homework? So we're going to go ahead and transition to our mini quiz. So clear off your desk, but keep out the calculator. So that's what I was just saying. These x values, that's what we put here. So you just list them here. And then to get these, you just do this 4 times. So y equals, what is x? Negative x plus 1. Put that in your calculator, and then that's your answer.
Put in parentheses.
Just, you could have left off the parentheses. We would have negative 2. What's negative or minus negative? Yeah.
Why would it be negative?
Because it was minus, is the opposite of negative 2.
How do you go to some minus or negatives?
So then when we have our numbers here, those are going to be negatives. When we're in our expression, those are subtraction signs. So the numbers will have, like the numbers they give you will be a negative whenever you put into your equation. But when we're in our expression, our equation, those are going to be subtraction signs.
So then after you would move on to the x value.
Yep, so then you would go ahead and do it now with negative 1. So y equals opposite of x, so negative 1. And some of these you might be able to just do without the calculator. Negative with negative is positive 1. Or you can put in your calculator and you got the answer. So you just repeat again and again. Alright, so we'll have our desks cleared off. But keep out your calculators. I do have your first mini quiz. I had it last class and forgot to give it to you. So I'll give that back to you once you guys are taking this mini quiz.
Did you check? Did you check the mini quiz?
The first one you took, I graded that. That's what I have over here. What you took last class, I read it through it again. I think there are a couple of you that were actually going to take last class. So we'll get there. First pass these out so you guys can get started. And then we'll move to the other stuff. So if you haven't finished your mini quiz, finish that, turn it in, and we're going to start with our notes here. Just a reminder, phone should be off and away, and earbuds out. Okay. Is there anyone that did not get the notes? We should probably start off with that. Notes number 11. Okay, so again, we're still doing stuff that you've seen last year in your math class. So hopefully this seems familiar. But what we're doing today is distributive property and combining like terms. Okay, so distributive property, this is a property where we have multiplication, but it's not just two things being multiplied together, there are multiple things. Okay, so what we have is it's going to have a set of parentheses. And what we do is we distribute the A to the B, so A times B, and we also have A times C. So that's our distributive property. A times B, but also A times C. So you see A times B plus A times C. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so number 1, again, we distribute 5 times N, 5N, plus, what is 5 times 3? 15, good. Let's zoom in a little more here. Now, I cannot combine these together because this has an N and that one does not. Good. Now, sometimes they like to be tricky and put the number that you're multiplying by on the other side. Don't let that mess you up, all right? Let's go ahead. We still do the same thing. Distribute to our first one, distribute to our second one. So 3 times 2p. What is 3 times 2?
6p.
Good. 6p. We multiply the numbers together, and then we'll deal with multiplying letters together.
Plus 18.
Good. Plus 18. 3 times 6 is 18. Questions so far? It's a really basic idea. Sometimes we have more than two terms. You just multiply to everything inside. All right.
What if it's times that? Is there ever going to be a time where there's like more than one number off?
Yeah, so you could have this. Let's just take what we have here. 2p plus 6 times 3, and then maybe it says plus 7p. Something like that. We are only going to, 3 is the only thing that's being multiplied, so I'm only going to distribute my 3. We leave the 7p alone. Okay, so it's only when it's multiplied right next to the parentheses. If it's not right next to it, we don't mess with it.
Then what do you do? Plus 7p.
So then we'll combine like terms, and that's what we're going to do on the back side of our notes. That's
So
good.
we would end up adding the 7 or the 7 and 6.
Yes. Yep. Does that sound familiar? Good, 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 good. My geometry students were just dealing with this yesterday. All right. So number 3 here, we have 2 times x. What is 2 times x? What do we write? Just 2x. And then we have plus 2 times 5. Okay, good. Again, anytime you use your calculator, go ahead and use your calculator. All right, number 4 here. So we are distributing 2/3, but you might need your calculator to help you out with this. So we're doing 2/3 times 3. So on our calculator, we don't need to write the x. We know it's going to have an x at the end. But on your calculator, you can either do the alpha y equals or just bring x 2 divided by 3. And then times 3. What do we get? 3. Good. So we get 2, don't forget your x. And then 2/3 times -9. Okay. So again, we want to do parentheses 2/3, or you can do your alpha y equals.
Wait, so could you type it in the calculator? Wait, why would you do it as -9?
So you could either just write the minus and then put whatever number, or in your calculator do -9, and you'll get the same result. So either way, whichever you prefer. Trying to get y equals there. So I'm in the vertical fraction this time. 2/3. And again, error to the right to get out of it. Times, I'm going to put in parentheses. And as I was just saying, you can go ahead and put your negative with your 9 here. Or you can just leave off the negative and write the negative. Either way. But we should have got, what was it, 6? and 8. Notice the difference here than what we just did before. There's a negative that we have to multiply with it. Okay? Here, again, a negative that we're multiplying with it. Here, there's no number, just a negative. Guess what? We have to multiply it out. And here, another negative. Okay, so same process, just we have a negative number we're multiplying by. When we multiply a negative times a positive, what do we get? Negative, good. So we have a negative times a positive. That gives me a negative. What about when I have a negative times a negative? Positive. What if I had the other way around? Positive times negative. Still negative. Okay. And then positive times positive. Positive. Okay. Now again, your calculator will tell you this.
Oh, hold on.
In case you forget.
For number 6.
Yeah. We'll go with that. That's the beautiful thing with notes. I'm right here for you. All right, so number 5. Negative 2 times x. Nothing exciting there. It's just negative 2x. But negative 2 times 4, again, either in your calculator or in your head, what do we get? Negative 8. Okay. Number 6, same thing. We're still distributing. Negative 4 times y is just negative 4y. Then negative 4 times negative 5. What is negative 4 times negative 5? Positive 20. So positive 20. Again, if you wanted to just leave it as negative 4y minus, and then 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Well, minus negatives plus a positive, you get the same thing. I like to just go ahead and multiply the sign with it so I can see that step. All right, number 7. There's no number here. So what number is assumed to be there? 1. Good. So we have negative 1 is what we're multiplying. Negative 1 times 6 is negative 6. Negative 1 times negative 3x with a positive 3x. You can see that negative just changes this time. All right, number 8. Same idea. Negative 9 times 1, negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 2t. Negative times negative is a positive. 2 times 9? 18. Later this year, you're going to learn how to do this. Doesn't that look pretty crazy? What you have to do is distribute the x to both pieces, and then distribute the 3 to both pieces. So that comes later in the year. That comes like February or March time. So has anyone done that before already? Oh, yay! Some of you have. Awesome. It's exciting. Okay. So now this part, I love this one because it says, I heart division. I love division. So these types of problems are when we have either an addition or subtraction on top, okay? So notice it is on top. If it's on the bottom, we can't deal with it. But when we are adding or subtracting terms on top, then we have to do each individual one. We're going to first do b divided by a, and then plus c divided by a. So let's take a look what that looks like. All right, so again, I heart division. So make some more. So I want to first do 32x divided by 4. So our x is going to just hang out there. 32 divided by 4 is 8x. You know what? I'm going to first write it where we split it up. I'm going to just go and split it up first. 32x divided by 4.
Wait, so here you don't do it like order of operations?
No, because we can't simplify those because they're not like terms. If they were just numbers, then we would follow order of operations. But it's already simplified as much as we can. All right, and then we have minus 8 over 4. Okay, so this is what we're doing. Now we just have to simplify. So 32 over 4 and 8 over 4. 32 over 4 is 8. Still have our x. What's 8 divided by 4? 2. And that's our answer. So the same thing with number 10. I have negative 9 over 3. 8x minus 2. Okay, so I have negative 9 over 3. Then I have my plus sign. 27x over 3. Alright, let's simplify that. What's negative 9 divided by 3? Negative 3. 27 divided by 3? 9x. Okay, so we should all be writing this down. We shouldn't just be playing on our calculator. You're not doing it with us. We should all be writing this down. Beautiful. Okay, now, you don't need to write this stuff every single time, right? You guys can do math in your head. You can do math on your calculator, so let's just go ahead and do some in our head and on our calculators. What's 12 divided by negative 6? Good. Negative 2. Don't forget your G. Then I have a negative 20. Ooh, this one's a little trickier. Negative 24 divided by negative 6. Positive, good, 4h. Good. Alright, I want you guys to go and try number 12.
Wait, why'd you put add 4?
Because it was negative 24 and negative 6. So that gave us, became positive. Yep, yep. Go ahead and do number 12. All right. 9 divided by 3. 3. Don't forget your x. And negative 36 divided by 3. Negative 12y. Any questions with that? Awesome. All right, go and flip it over. Turn to the person next to you and say, we're almost there. You can make it. It's Friday. You're almost in the second period. Woo-hoo! You can make it. And I'm with you guys. I'm ready for the weekend. All right, combining like terms. So this, again, should be something you saw last year. Terms are the pieces that are added together. Now, this includes subtraction too. So this includes subtraction too. So they're added or subtracted together. So keep in mind that's also negatives. Now, in order to combine like terms, they have to have the same variables. What are variables again? Good, like x, it's our letters, right? Same variables are letters. And they have to have the same exponents. The same exponents or powers. Exponents or powers. Alright, so Eric, right? Eric was kind of asking about this earlier. If I have 8x plus 2, I can't put these together because 8 has an x with it and 2 does not. But if I have 8x plus 2x, they both have the same variable, and x has the same power of 1, I can combine those together. Okay. Now, if I had 8x squared plus 2x, different powers, we can't combine those together. Just a real quick question. This is a side note here. What if I had this? Right, on the front side, we would distribute, right? What is x times x? X squared, good. So x times x is x squared. That's how we can get those higher powers instead of just the x, and then we'd have plus 4x. Okay, so just keep that in mind from last year. X times x is x squared. All right, sorry, that was a side note. Let's take a look at our problems. Number 1, it says circle the like terms. Ooh, that's good. We'll go for it.
Yeah, I don't remember this too much.
Okay, so circle the like terms. They have to have the same letter and same power. Is there another x squared? Nope, so that has nobody to partner up with. Is there another x? Yeah, we've got negative x, and we have positive
It's just the x next to the sign. It's negative 1x.
Yeah, this is same, good call. This is the same thing as saying negative 1x. So the other stuff I can't combine together, but those I can. All right, let's take a look at letter B.
Oh, so sometimes we would get questions just a circle.
You probably, if you do, it's only like one question.
Like right now.
Yeah, like right now. Yeah. We're moving on to bigger, better things. All right, is there another x squared? Yeah. So you always are going to take the number with it, right? So negative 3x squared and positive, if you want to write it, 1x. Okay. Let's take a look at C. What can I combine here? Ooh, good. 4 and negative 7. They don't have any letters with them. We can combine them. Those are just normal numbers. That's back to elementary school, right? We can add those together. Although, we didn't have negatives in elementary school. That's back to 6th grade. 6th grade in elementary school for you guys? Yeah. Okay, it's back to 7th grade. I don't know when you guys said negatives. But it's just numbers. We can combine those together. All right.
Wait, is this your first year, very first time?
No, it's my 6th year. But I didn't grow up here, so I grew up in Ohio. So our 6th grade was in middle school. But then there's like, isn't there like Robinson where it's all together? No, they put the middle school and the high school together, don't they?
Yeah, there's a school that
Where it's like huge. Gotta be like 5,000 people there. Okay. In D, let's see, we've got x squared and positive 2x squared. What else can I combine though? Good. I'm going to put squares around those so we know that those are different, right? We can't put them with our circles. But we can combine those together. Very good. Okay. So that was just to help us identify it. But now let's take a look at what do we actually do with it. So you just want to think of it like this. Our very first one here.
it's 11x.
Good. I have 8 x's sitting over here, right? I've got 8 x's hanging out on this side of the classroom. Over here, I've got 3 x's just sitting over here chilling. If I were to come into my class and say, how many x's do I have? I have 8 plus 3. How many total is that? 11. We have a total of 11. And what is it that we have? X. Right, we have 11 x's. They didn't change, right? They're just x's sitting here. So I have a total of 11 x's. So I'm just simply adding my numbers together. The term stays the same. How did I get an x squared again? It was x times x, right? When we're adding, it doesn't become x squared, it just stays as x. It's the same thing up here. My x's are just hanging out. Okay. I meant x as like the letter x, not like ex-boyfriends or something. I don't have ex-boyfriends. I married my first boyfriend. Okay, B. We have 2x squared plus 7x squared, yeesh, and a negative x squared. There are 3 things we can combine together. So I have 2 plus 7 minus 1. What is 2 plus 7? 9. And then we subtract away 1. 8. X squared plus 2. Notice it's x squared because that's what we started off. Okay. So all the x squareds go together. So I have 2 of them plus 7. That'd be 9 of them, right? And then minus 1. 9 minus 1 gave us the 8. So on your calculator, I do want you to be careful.
Wait, I'm confused. I'm so confused.
So I have 2 sitting right here,
Yeah. Squared.
x squared. And then I have 7 staying in the middle of the room. And then,
Did we do anything with the exponent?
no. They're still just x squareds, right? We're
Oh.
only adding them together. We're not
So
multiplying.
they're like variables, right?
Yeah, they're variables. Yeah, so again, when we're adding, our variable doesn't change. It's like saying I have 2 cookies, 7 cookies, and then I ate a cookie. They're still cookies.
If it doesn't have an actual I
Correct, it has to be the same letter and the same power or exponent, that little guy up there. So like, I cannot combine 11x and 8x squared. Those are 2 different things because this doesn't have that power. All right, let's take a look at C. Lots of m's here, like M&M's. All right, I have 8 m's.
4m.
Minus an m, minus 3 more m's. Someone was really hungry for that. What is 8 minus 1?
7.
7 minus 3.
4.
Good.
4
4m. Now don't forget about the leftover 5.
plus 1.
Plus 5. Good. Before we take a look at D, there's something I want you to be very careful with. We use your calculators a lot in here, right? Now on your calculator, let's get this over a little more. On our calculator, you may have noticed that there's this button here that has x, comma, t, comma, it's a Greek letter, it's called theta, comma, lowercase x. You cannot use x to represent x. If I were to type in x, my calculator will not say x back to me, it's going to give me a number. Most of you, the number will be 0. It can actually change. That's something that we'll learn years later. So don't put in your calculator 2x squared plus 7x squared
I didn't get this one.
minus 1x squared because, I see what you mean. Sorry, 2x squared. We'll just do 2x squared plus 7x squared. This would not tell you 9x squared, right? We know that this would be 9x squared.
It's gonna give you like an actual like.
It's going to give you a number, okay? So what's happening is the calculator has the ability to memorize a number for x. And right now my calculator is memorizing 0 for x. So it's saying 2, it's evaluating 2 times 0 squared, which is 0. So your calculator cannot tell you x. It will never say here x or x squared. It's not possible. And I had a student a few years ago that cheated and tried telling me his calculator said 8x squared plus 2. And I was like, that's not possible. And he's like, but that's what it said. I'm like, well, make it happen. You gotta make it happen. And because it's not possible, your calculator cannot tell you x, okay? So don't type in your calculator x. That's something we'll learn way later. This is not a variable on your calculator. On your calculator, it only represents a number. Okay, so I want to make sure we're careful of that so you guys don't type that in and get 0. So if you type in your calculator, do 8 minus 1 minus 3. Don't try typing in letters. Okay. All right, let's go and take a look at D. This is tricky, all right? First of all, we've got to be careful. Can I do 1 minus 4 before I even start? No. Order of operations, PEMDAS, says that I have to first deal with parentheses, right? All right, well, I can't simplify anything within there. Then deal with exponents. There are no exponents. Then what comes next? Multiplication, division. Guess what? This is multiplication right there. We have to multiply before I do my addition and subtraction. They love to sneak this type of problem in there. Watch out. I bet you anything you're going to have something like this on your test. So make sure you do your multiplying first. All right. So I still have 1. And then I have to distribute my negative 4. What's negative 4 times positive 1? Negative 4. Then distribute your 2. Negative 4 times negative 2. Positive 8x. Good. Now that we're done with our multiplying and our parentheses, now we can go and combine like terms. 1 minus 4 is negative 3 plus 8x. So just be careful with those things, okay? Any questions with that? Alright, so we're just going to do a few practice problems with this for our remaining time.
You're wasting.
Okay, let's pick certain ones.
Is our homework?
No, this is just practice that we're going to do right now in class for our remaining time.
Have you had this stuff? That's what gotta end at 8 minutes.
I want you guys to do the following numbers.
Oh, this takes a lot of thinking.
That's what we're just doing. What takes thinking is me trying to figure out which ones you should do. Okay, let's take number 6, 9, 12.
15.
I think I'm going to change instead of doing 15, 18. Let's do 19.
No, 13. 13. Do 13.
13. What? Sure, why not? We'll do 13.
And
Since
17.
Eric wanted it.
Yes.
That's like the same thing as 13.
I don't know how to.
Do we do this stuff for?
What's that?
What is the
Yeah, you can take a
I
walk.
can't do
It's
the
And
homework.
sit at
It's not one
home?
It's not for homework, but it is good extra practice if you're struggling.
Can I have this homework?
No, your homework's good. Oh my goodness, you mean I'm making you do math while you're in math class? What a thought! That's crazy, I'm making you do math in math class. Who would have thought of it? Alright. So you're welcome to the other ones, but let's start off with these, and these are the ones we'll go over. Eva? Is there one that did not get a copy? Alright, so then work out this. You're welcome to talk to your shoulder partner. I'll be coming around to help out as well. It feels way too warm in here. Take off these feet.
Oh, shit.
What is eggs? For the senses, I put the eggs with the other eggs.
So x times x is x squared. So guys, just a reminder. X times x is x squared.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so don't forget that there. That's important. All right, I'm gonna pull back the numbers. And I'm sorry, I didn't be practicing these. What's your name?
Wait, so if we were to.
So it's the same thing. You can think that either way, you can multiply this and make this like
Did you have a question, Eric? Eric? Did you have a question?
Yeah, do you want us to like, for like number 12, and end up getting 5x plus 10x, do we add it together?
Ooh, careful, it should be 10x squared, right? Because it was x times x.
When it's x times x is.
X squared. That's like this guy here.
Which one do you put square?
X times x gives you an x squared.
Alright.
Otherwise, I would say yes.
How this is the only one that has an X. So we're gonna keep that by itself. We can combine the X. We have X squared plus X.
My mom was.
Negative y squared and then minus y
Alright guys, let's go ahead and go over these real quick. So 6 is 8x
40.
plus 40. Good. What was next? 9? 9 is negative 3m. Negative 7 times negative 3? Positive. Negative times negative is positive. Alright, then 12. So this is one that we were asked about here. 5x times 2x. 5 times 2 is 10. X times x is x squared, right? So 2 times 5 is 10, x times x is 4. So that's 10x squared. And then plus 1 times 5, which is 5x. Alright. Down here. 16x divided by 2, 8x. Negative 4 divided by 2, minus 2. 60x divided by negative 12 is negative 5x. Is that a negative 36? Negative 36 divided by negative 12 is a positive 9. Alright. Now, which one is this? Negative 2 times x, negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 9, positive 18. So negative times a negative.
What about 16? Oh yeah, that was one they taught.
Now, the only thing we can combine here is x and 7x. So that's 8x. And we still have our plus x squared. Alright. And then last but not least, we have to distribute first. So I have 8x squared plus 3x times x is x squared minus 9x. And then I can go ahead and combine 8 and 3 is 11x squared minus 9x. Again, only the x squareds can go together.
Wait, did we get homework on the weekend?
Yeah, I'm bringing it over to you right now.
Oh no.
Alright, your homework is worksheet 13 here. It's more with combining like words and distributive practice. You don't need to finish the practice unless you want to. The only one you have to do is 13.
Can I have a homework?
Only worksheet 13.
Oh, what? You expect us to do all these specials on this? What's the top one? You just run up right
Where you go? Hold up in there. Let's get through. Make sure you turn the calculators. Make sure you got in a homework worksheet 13's got a monster on it. Oh, perfect. Just show me next class, actually. Just go and hold on to it and show me next class.